Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. I came across her story months and months ago, and the only reason that she was victorious is because there was a recording device that Lanni Dasley, this is who she is, Lanni Dasley, she had a recording device. And when she was attacked by two police officers, the recording kept on rolling and they conspired against her. She's an attorney, they're two cops. By any kind of pedigree, if you're going to call it that, rank and file, whatever you want to call it, she would outshine the two aggressors. But they conspired to put her down. They conspired and they put their hands on her. In the recording, you heard her screaming, "Don't touch me, don't do this, let me go." You heard it in the recording. I don't know if it was played here. This is not, the interview is not what I am focusing on. You can go and look at the interview, it's on CBC. But I wanted to talk about something that I didn't hear her mention initially when it came out in the Nation News. I think it was in the Nation News, and she won because of the recording pen she had on her, and she was awarded, and the Attorney General at that time said he was going to appeal. I don't know if she'll get her money or if there's an appeal, but that's what was in the paper then. You can go and listen to this interview. I try not to be influenced too much by too much words coming out of other people's mouths, okay? But this one I do know because there was some correspondence of someone who knows her and we were corresponding. So I have a little background in the trauma that she endured from a brother. And they think, your brothers think that they can use the white man's laws to cloak themselves in the white man's laws, to trample on their sisters. And I've said this countless of times, that Black women are the most disrespected people on this earth. We are an endangered species. The Black woman is an endangered species, okay? But what I turn my camera towards this particular frame to talk about is, and I've said it before, I put up a story recently where this university student was moved from one spot. She got into a car and the guy was supposed to take her to the university, and he pulled away and took her on a ride. And when she was talking about her ordeal, she said she was almost abducted. She didn't even realize she was abducted. She did not even realize that it happened. She said it almost happened. It happened from the time he took her away from where she wanted to go, and she kept telling him, "This is not the way to school, take me back, let me out, stop the car." She didn't even realize. She said she was almost abducted when she was. Now, in Lanni Dasley's case, I've listened to her when she was talking to the cops and when she was giving her story about the whole ordeal with going through the court and everything, being victorious. I've listened to her, and not once did I hear her say the R word, like being violated. For the time they touched her, there should have been a bit of scorn. There should have been a kind of a feeling that you're being violated. And I say this to say that a lot of Black females up to this day, October 13, 2025, they don't know when they've been raped. They don't know when they've been violated. They would tell a story, but that never comes up. That part of the dirtiness, the filthiness, the assault on the body the assault on the person, the violation of the person. They don't quite get it. Black women, they don't understand, and they're not getting to the point where they are beginning to come to terms with their interactions with the opposite that looks like them, talks like them, came from the same experience, DNA like them. They're not coming to terms with that the same mechanism, the same mindset, the same of everything is still there, and it's there to the point where there's a thumb on that part of Black women's brains. There's a block. There's something there that they cannot broach. They cannot push through. They cannot separate the clouds and have a clearing and have a clear moment, a moment of clarity where they can say, I've been raped. I've been violated. And I want Lanni Dasley to understand that that's what happened to her that day when the officers put their hands on her, have her pulling around, navigating the steps, falling on steps, and being like abused and misused and disrespected. I want Lanni Dasley to come to terms with that, and maybe this is almost 13 years she's been through the ordeal, and people are or maybe saying, oh, it's a long time. It's not. She's going to live with that memory. She's going to live with that memory, and any sort of memory, any sort of trauma that sticks to you in relation to a violation of your body, of your person, your personal space, whatever happens to you, it's a violation. It's a violation. Now, had those officers had a different scenario where it was late at night and no one was there to see, and they could have conspired to go even further. What have they done? What have they done? Usually in big countries, when officers come up for something like what happened to Lanni, every file that they've touched, people, they look at the prosecutors and the internal section of the police department. They will start to look at every file that those officers dealt with to see if there were other infractions, if there were other violations. But that won't happen in Barbados. It doesn't happen in Barbados, but in other cities, in other places, every file, everyone that they accused, everyone that those officers arrested, those files will be pulled and looked at, and then when the person that was accused by these officers kept saying, that didn't happen, these officers are lying, that is a fresh look at that again. There will be a fresh look at that again. Not in Barbados. Not in Barbados. Now, she is an attorney. She has education, and 2, low education, because no one with an education is going to become an officer, a policeman. So 2 low educated people, or how many there were, I think I remember there being 2 that conspired. They wanted to bring her into disrepute. And as an attorney in Barbados, you don't need your name being called for anything that is other than you winning cases. You want to win your cases and you want to have your reputation intact. And they conspired to bring everything that she worked for up to that point. The education, the money, the studying, the not going out because you have to keep your head to the paper, the books and everything. They conspired to destroy her. They conspired to destroy her. And she, up to this point, Lanni Dasley, up to this point, and it's something that she has to overcome. It's something that all black women have to overcome. You have to, at some point, you can have to realize that black men don't like you. Black men don't like you, okay? They like what you can give them. They like what they can get from you. They like the way you cook. They like the way that you keep the house. They don't like you as a person. And she's going to have to overcome that. She's going to have to sit with herself and know that the agitation that she still has for something that happened years ago, and the fact that she's still able to talk about it with a lot of emotion. She has to come to a point. I don't know if she's going to counseling. I love to tell people, you need counseling. Well, I don't usually tell people that, but if you ask me, I would say, yeah, it's something that you should explore. But she has got to come to the point where she realizes that day in the port when she went to see a client, that day when those officers touched her, put their hands on her, tried to her. She has got to come to the point where she realizes that she was violated. It's the big R in my book, the big R. And maybe when she realizes that and realizes that that's why I cannot forget, that's why I'm still tortured. The trauma of that day still haunts me. Maybe when she puts that word to it, the big R, it's a hurdle. You have to jump over that hurdle. Not saying there are not more hurdles up front, but you have to jump over hurdles first. You have to admit. It doesn't have to be someone ripping your clothes off. It doesn't have to be dark in the night. It doesn't have to be anything of what you would think of. The big R comes in all different shapes, sizes, and all different types of occasions in your life. And if it's traumatic enough, especially when your personal space was invaded and someone put their hands on you. You were raped. You were violated, Lanni. You were violated, okay? You were violated that day, and it haunts you still. But that's a hurdle that you can just step over that now. Step over that, and when you look at it, you'll look at it from a different angle. Scorn, yes. That when you wear a Rolex watch. Scorn, yes. Like if you go out there and you buy a Louis Vuitton bag. Scorn, yes, because you know that you should be pouring your energy and your money into your community, not giving it back to the white man. You know it. But it's the world you live in that you have to move around in it with scorn. This is Sherry Veronica.
Help me spread the word about Naked Departure via social media. Subscribe and share to show support and love for our channels.